Morning, Glad.
Good morning, brother.
Could you just start off by telling us a bit about yourself?
Well, my name is Glad Dibetso. So is my Tswana name. So that tells you already that I'm from South Africa, not really Botswana, just on the border of South Africa and Botswana. I was born in a small city called Rustenburg, the platinum city of South Africa. And I spent a lot of my education in South Africa, finishing at UCT with a Bachelor of Commerce. And then I started with a company called Dimension Data, a multinational in the system integration space, now currently owned by NTT. And I finished my MBA with Gordon Institute of Business, known as GIBS, from the University of Pretoria. And I made my way to Nigeria. And I started off here as a sales director working for Dimension Data. And then by the end of 2012, I was the MD for Dimension Data West Africa. So in a nutshell, that's who I am. But of course, I'm bigger than just my career. There's lots of passions I have that has to do with startups. That's one of the biggest identity that I take lately. I'm passionate about seeing SMEs grow in the continent, specifically in the tech space. So I do some part-time investing as an angel investor in small companies across the continent.
Okay. So how long would you say you've been involved with the Nigerian tech industry?
So I think since I've arrived here, firstly, I took a keen interest in Nigeria before I even landed in Nigeria. So I had taken an elective in my MBA for emerging markets, and one of the major emerging markets we were focusing on was Nigeria. And that's how actually the bug caught me. And that's where I had my first love of Nigeria. So since 2012, or a little bit before, maybe 2 years before 2012, when I was doing my MBA, I became very interested in the Nigerian tech space.
Okay. So let me ask you, what are your thoughts on the talent pool in Nigeria's tech space? What do you think about the talent available?
So, firstly, I find that in Nigeria, there's a huge amount of resources. There's a plethora of different types of skills. And the youth in Nigeria are very, very hungry. They're very confident. And they have a can-do attitude. A good example is that the Cloud Exchange website was developed by a young man who's 21 years old, who have self-taught himself.
Young Nigerian
Who did this. So I find that there's a lot of hunger and there's a lot of can-do attitude, and I really enjoy that. We do, however, have a shortage of highly skilled resources, not because of Nigeria, because of the migration of them and because of the huge amount of startups that are now starting in Nigeria. I think we have one success story, or not only one, but one of, like Andela, that actually opened a lot of people's eyes that there is an opportunity. So what you find is that you have more and more tech companies starting up, and as they start up, we're all jostling for the similar kind of skills. But the skills are there, and us as Cloud Exchange, we've decided to also be part of the solution in terms of skills. We started a Cloud Exchange Technical School last year. We've graduated 37 students in multiple international certificates. So we've employed only 7 out of the 37 that we've graduated. So the rest of the 30 is actually going back
to the industry. Okay,
yeah.
So that leads me to my next question. What exactly is it you look for when you're looking to hire? And even with your tech school, tech academy, what kind of skills, what kind of attitudes are you looking for in the people you want to hire?
Yeah. So, we are currently, by the way, interviewing for the Cloud Exchange Technical School because it has to start in April. One of the biggest things that we found is that emotional intelligence is very important. Secondly, work ethic is absolutely critical. Specifically hiring for Cloud Exchange, we're looking for agility, adaptability, flexibility, because we're working in a environment that is very complex. So if the person comes here and they're looking for a very stable environment, predictable environment, this is not the place. And for startups and generally all of us in this space, we're looking for people that can deal with complexity. So it's not just about your qualification, but it's more about your personality.
I was actually going to say that in all those qualities you mentioned, you didn't say anything about degrees. I mean,
No.
So those are not important to you.
You know, what's funny is that I receive, when I recruit for a position, I receive over 100 CVs, and all of them, they have degrees on, but I'm no longer looking there. Okay. It's almost like in Nigeria, it's accepted that there will be a degree. But the biggest thing that we look for is firstly the ability to do the job practically. What skill do you have? And then the softer skills supersede. All the softer skills I mentioned, they supersede what you have. Because what we found is that even youngsters that we bring from university ourselves, they've got a higher propensity to succeed if they have the softer skills in place, because we have the training ability here, and more than the training, we take you from the training straight into the practical experience. And we found that young people are ready for that. They're ready for pressure. They're ready for a lot of work. When you give them a chance, you get something special out of them.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, the fact that you seem to emphasize the soft skills. So let me ask you: it's one thing to find the right guys and to hire them, but I know that it's also a challenge, right? Retaining them. So what do you do to retain your best hands? I mean, there is competition out there.
You know, it is a real tough situation for us, but in the years that I've been here, and I mean the problem is not specific to Nigeria as well, the environment that you create is actually the one that's going to retain your stuff. So sometimes it takes a little bit of time for people to realize that this is the best environment. So what we find in Cloud Exchange is a lot of us stuff that is left are coming back. So, and when that happens, it's very good for us, because they went out, they got some even better experience, they come back. Some that had left are part of a bigger network, because they now realize that this was the best environment that they worked in. And the biggest thing that I focus on as us and the ESCO here is the culture that we create in Cloud Exchange. That's what we believe is going to retain our stuff. One is a culture of autonomy and independence, and mastery. So the other thing that we also look at is what are the key things that you come here with that you believe are your purpose that we can use in the company, such that you can live your purpose within the Cloud Exchange ambit. So mastery, autonomy, and living your own purpose at work is the culture that we believe keeps people to stay longer in the company. Because the next thing that happens is that they make this place a home for themselves. They start having friends within work. And when that happens, they don't have to wait for Friday to go and live their life. So you'll see, if you come to Cloud Exchange, we will be here. Nobody sits in the traffic. People will stay here and say, I'd rather be at work and not be on the traffic, because it's so much more pleasurable to be at work. And then, of course, you cannot keep young people idling, no, any other person idling. So we have to continue to increase the level of pressure so they can grow. So if the environment doesn't have pressure, I found that people don't want to stay in it. So if it's an 8 to 5 with a lot of idling time, that's not good enough. So you have to keep people extremely busy and give them projects that are most times transformational, because that links to the purpose-driven life that gives them satisfaction. So you would know some of the projects that we have been engaging in Cloud Exchange. When people tell their spouses or tell their family they're involved in that, their soul lights up. They're not just in the business of technology, but they're in the business of using technology to solve human problems.
Okay. So, I mean, I hear what you say about creating the right culture, creating the right environment to retain your staff. But some say that Nigeria is actually experiencing another brain drain right now. A lot of young people are immigrating to countries like Canada and the likes. Do you think that the environment and the culture you've created is enough to withstand that pull? How are you dealing with those?
Firstly, I have to acknowledge it. As recent as about 8 months ago, we've lost a young lady who's been with us for years. So what?
Lost her to where?
To Canada. To Canada, and I find it very, very interesting that we are losing people to Canada. I mean, the continent, in my view, is the last frontier, is the best place for the next growth in the global economy. However, it is happening, but it's not happening for every young man and young lady in this country. So there's some people who actually do want to stay in the country, and we do need to create more stories of tech startups that are succeeding, because when a tech startup succeeds, it's all the founders and all the first layers of the people that started that actually sees the benefits from satisfaction, from fulfillment, from financial benefits. So we need to create more and more green shoots of all of these successful companies, and we'll see young people come back. And again, the story of coming back, you must have also realized that there's some people who left Nigeria and have come back, and when they come back more exposed, they come back more eager to contribute to the economy. So for me, I am concerned, but I'm not highly concerned about the brain drain.
Okay. So if I were a young person looking to go into the tech industry in Nigeria, are there any specific skills or specific areas of the industry you'd say I should focus on? Are there areas where there's probably a shortage of manpower that I should look at?
So, I mean, very, very good question, and we get to hear a lot about this. Firstly, there's a lot of training like Cloud Exchange provides, where companies like ourselves are using this training as a corporate social responsibility that you can do. So you can apply to the Cloud Exchange technical school. What would you get from a typical school like Cloud Exchange? You're going to get internationally recognized certification. So what are we talking about? We're talking about understanding technology from infrastructure point of view, and then going on top to understanding cloud, which is really the buzzword that everybody's been talking about and is not going anywhere in the near future. And then, of course, developing applications on top of the cloud platform. So you need to firstly, as a young person, spend time on the internet learning. So self-teaching is one of the most important attributes that you need if you're going to be in a technology space. Whether you are about to come in or whether you are in, you need to learn to teach yourself online. So that's the first thing that you have to do. Secondly, find basic certifications like in the infrastructure space, in networking, in security, in data analytics, and in cloud. Find any of those basic certifications, because that tells us that you are hungry enough to go and acquire something. And somebody has said that we endorse that you have the aptitude to learn, because our industry is a learning industry. So you just have to come up, show up, and show that you have the ability to continue to learn. Research more and more research online. This is what I can advise all the young people to do.
Fantastic. So my final question to you, right? What advice would you have for entrepreneurs who are looking to start tech companies in Nigeria? What has your experience been running a tech company in Nigeria? What are the challenges you face on a daily basis, and how do you suggest they navigate those challenges?
Look, I mean, I got baptized by fire in this area, and I think Baba would know. But in the past 2 years, we approached multiple private equity firms to buy out a multinational company that used to be Dimension Data in West Africa. So this was the first time in my life I actually got exposed to trying to find money from private equity firm and understanding what's in it for them. So it's very important that as a young person you understand. I met a lot of young people lately because of course I'm an angel investor, where it's all about money for them. And we all see this. When it's all about money for you, nobody's interested. You have to find passion in what you're doing and don't go around trying to raise money for the sake of money. And then the next thing, what I found in the industry is that these guys have got this Series A, Series B, Series C. And basically you never ever get to see where the company is going and whether the company is becoming cash positive or whether the company is becoming profitable. But all you are being sold is future cash flows or future success of the company. I would advise all of us in the tech space, including ourselves, that what we want to do is we want to spend time serving our clients. Let's spend time saving our clients and let's spend time making sure that the companies are profitable. When companies are profitable, when we're serving our clients well, guess what happens? More money will be given to us to expand. And this is what I would like to advise all of us.
So what you're saying is don't focus on the money.
Focus
do what
on
you
the
have
passion.
a passion for.
And the passion will lead you to more clients, more people to serve. And more people to serve and more clients will lead to more cash positive, more profitability. And then you can expand. But if your idea of being in the tech space is to just raise money every year, sooner or later people will realize that, okay, this is a game about raising money. It's no longer a game about actually serving people. There's a lot of problems that technology can solve in Nigeria, and these problems are worth a lot. People are willing to pay you lots and lots of money to solve their problems. But don't focus on money, because anyway, as soon as the money comes in, suddenly you realize the money is no longer important. So you gotta look at what we call transformational projects that can change the face of Nigeria. That will give all of us so much pride, so much fulfillment, that even when the money comes, it will mean nothing to you.
Well, Glad, thank you very much for taking the time out to talk to us and to share your experience and thoughts. It's been a pleasure. And,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.